evolution of the Wicked Witch of the West. The Wicked Witch of the West makes her debut in the 1908 show, The Fairylogue and Radio-Plays, which was one of the earliest attempts to recreate L. Frank Baum's Oz books as the motion picture animation, as Mombi the Witch, reprised by Josephine Brewster. The Wicked Witch reappears in the 1914 silent movie, His Majesty, the Scarecrow of Oz, which is loosely based on Baum's original book, now named as Old Mombi, portrayed by Mai Wells. The 1942 stage musical adaptation of the 1939 movie at the Muni in St. Louis features the Wicked Witch of the West, played by Helen Raymond. In the 1964 animated TV special Return to Oz, the Wicked Witch of the West appears, voiced by Larry D. Mann. Here, she has slightly green skin, sparse brown hair and wears a green hat and a coat with black shoes. In the story, she has become reconstituted after her previous demise, caused by water, and began casting dark spells, kidnapped the wizard, and plotted revenge on Dorothy, as well as intended to get her silver slippers. While Dorothy was looking for her friends, the Wicked Witch used her magic crystal ball to watch them. At the end, after the Wicked Witch takes hold of the slippers and puts them on, she is turned into stone, crumbles, and falls apart. In the 1969 movie The Wonderful Land of Oz, which is a live adaptation of the 1904 novel The Marvelous Land of Oz, the Wicked Witch of the West appears as Mombi the Witch, portrayed by Ziska Baum. Here, her appearance is changed to having pale green skin, a red and black dress, a black hat and black hair. In the story, she is an abusive caretaker of the main protagonist, and a native of Oz, an orphan boy called Tip, who is actually the Princess Ozma, who had been transformed to protect her identity from the wizard by Mombi. Also, she sings a song, The Powder of Life, when she uses the Powder of Life to bring Jack Pumpkinhead to life, with whom Tip will later escape to seek his fortune, and eventually become the ruler of Oz. In the 1972 musical adaptation of the 1939 movie, Journey Back to Oz, the Wicked Witch again is playing Mombi the Witch, reprised by Ethel Merman. Here, she is returned to having bright green skin, but now with red hair, a brown coat, and a black mantle. In the story, she is the cousin of the deceased Wicked Witches of the East and West, and is also shown to be even more powerful than Glinda, which is opposite to the original story. When she creates an army of green elephants to conquer the Emerald City, Glinda is unable to help Dorothy fight her, and instead outsmarts her by giving Dorothy a little silver box, which upon opening releases mice that scare away the elephants. At the end, Mombi transforms into a rose with poisonous thorns, as a last means of stopping Dorothy, after which Dorothy's dog, Toto, goads the herd of elephants into trampling over her, causing her demise and the disappearance of all the products of her magic. The Wicked Witch of the West appears next in the 1974 musical The Wiz, as Evillene and a sister to Glinda, Adapril and Evillene, portrayed by Mabel King. Here she is depicted as a large, evil, power-hungry, and ruthless woman with unappealing makeup and is the second most powerful witch after Glinda. She wears dark clothing and spiky hair and sits on a strange-looking throne that is covered in various different objects, such as food or meat, including hot dogs on a string, surrounded by her slaves, the Winkies, who are absolutely terrified of her. She sends her winged monkeys to capture Dorothy, Gale, and the lion. Later she tries to take the silver shoes from Dorothy, but the lion distracts her by calling the witch a royal fatness. This makes her outraged, but as she tries to kill the lion for the insult, Dorothy throws a bucket of water on her, which causes Evillene to scream in agony and soon combust into a cloud of smoke. The Wicked Witch reappears in the episode 847 of the TV show Sesame Street, being again portrayed by Margaret Hamilton. In the episode, while she was flying, she accidentally dropped her broom and fell on the street, after which she started looking for it and found out that Big Bird and a Sesame Street resident, David, have the broom and refuse to give it back because of her nasty and disrespectful attitude. Enraged, she at first tries to threaten them with her magic and then resorts to trickery, after the first attempt has failed, by disguising herself as a sweet old lady in an effort to steal the broom back. However, instead, David tricked her into asking for it politely and with respect, after which he gave it back to her and she flew away. But, at the end, when she decided to show off by flying without hands, she dropped it again. The 1976 TV variety special Paul Lynde Halloween Special features the Wicked Witch of the West as a guest character, played by Margaret Hamilton. Here, she has her original appearance and also has a sister, Wilhelmina Witchypoo, who is also a witch. She spends time with the main character, Paul Lynde, and tries to help him enjoy Halloween, since this is the only holiday that he dreads. Initially, she plays the role of his housekeeper, Margaret, but after she invites him to her sister's house, she transforms into the Wicked Witch, after which the two witches ask Paul to help them improve their public image in exchange for 3 wishes. In the 1978 movie adaptation of the 1974 musical with the same name, the Wicked Witch is again portrayed as Evillene, played by Mabel King. In this version, she is again depicted as a large woman, but with much different clothes. Instead of a black dress and spiky hair, she wears a huge red dress, covered in various jewelry items and several gold crowns all over her head. In the story, she runs an underground sweatshop of never-ending labor that she rules over and completely controls, as well as sits on a gigantic throne, which is actually a giant dirty toilet, next to a flaming furnace of fire. When she decides to get Dorothy's shoes, she sends the Flying Monkeys, depicted as a biker gang, to capture her and her friends, but is then defeated after Dorothy sets off the sweatshop's fire sprinkler system, thus melting her and putting an end to her reign over the Winkies. The Wicked Witch makes a cameo in the TV show Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo in the episode Scooby's Trip to Oz as the Wicked Witch of the North. Here, she is depicted as an old woman with gray hair, white skin, and wearing purple clothes and a hat. After Shaggy, Scooby, and Scrappy get transferred to the land of Oz by a tornado and intend to go to the wizard, the witch is watching them via the crystal ball and then tries to stop them with her magical spells, only to get melted after Scrappy throws water at her. In the 1982 anime movie The Wizard of Oz, the Wicked Witch of the West appears, voiced by Elizabeth Hanna. Here, she is purple-skinned, white-haired, and wears an eye patch with her telescopic eye being replaced by a magic mirror, an old-fashioned peasant dress, and carries a staff, through which she generates her magic. In the story, the wizard agreed to help Dorothy return home, but on the condition that she and her friends defeat the Wicked Witch of the West. After the witch's magical obstacles were overcome, she tried to steal the ruby slippers from Dorothy, who during a fight, threw a jug of water on her, which caused her to shrink and disappear. In the polished stop-motion animation series, in the magical land of Oz, the Wicked Witch of the West and the Wicked Witch of the East are combined into one character who is just called Wicked Witch of the East, who ruled both Munchkin and Winkie Country. Here she is depicted as an old woman, with gray hair, a very long nose, white skin, and wearing both a red dress and a red hat. In the 1985 dark fantasy adaptation of the 1939 movie, Return to Oz, the Wicked Witch is presented as Mombi, portrayed by Jean Marsh. Here, she is initially Dorothy's cruel nurse, Wilson, at the hospital. But after Dorothy gets into the land of Oz and discovers that it has been conquered by the Wicked Gnome King and his accomplice, Princess Mombi, she is shown to be a woman with a long red dress that has lots of various kinds of jewelry on it and a cape, as well as a collection of women's heads, which she can change. At the end, after Dorothy saved everyone by releasing Princess Ozma from the mirror, who was imprisoned there by Mombi, Mombi gets imprisoned herself with her magical powers removed. The Wicked Witch of the West reappears in the anime TV show, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, voiced by Bronwyn Mantel. Here, she is purple-skinned once again and has long white hair with a blood-like red streak, with both eyes, and is dressed in a long black hooded gown. Her eyes have the power to turn people into stone and turn blood red when such transformations are effected. Like in the 1982 anime, a magic mirror shows her everything she wishes to uncover. She makes it clear to Dorothy that the Good Witch of the North's kiss cannot serve as protection from her apparently superior power, and it's the silver shoes that safeguard the girl. She also reveals that the Wicked Witch of the East was her sister, and that the silver shoes could triple her own powers. At the end, she is defeated while trying to get Dorothy's slippers after Dorothy tips a large water jar upon her, and all her evil work dies with her as she melts away. Animated TV show The Wizard of Oz, which is an unofficial sequel to the 1939 movie, The Wicked Witch of the West appears, voiced by Tress MacNeille. Here, she looks almost exactly like in the original movie, with the only difference being her clothes are purple rather than black. In the story, she has been resurrected by winged monkeys with a ritual, whereby they place her hat, dress, and cloak on a statue similar to her, after which she terrorizes Oz, overtakes the Emerald City, steals Dorothy's friends' gifts, and puts the wizard in his hot air balloon under a spell that causes him to be constantly blown around by an evil wind, as well as intends to take revenge against Dorothy and take her ruby slippers, while Dorothy and her friends try to stop her. In the 1995 TV special musical, The Wizard of Oz in Concert, Dreams Come True, the Wicked Witch of the West is featured, replaying her original role with the only differences being that her clothes are now green and her skin is white, portrayed by Deborah Winger. Next, the Wicked Witch makes an appearance in the miniseries Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers, in the episode What Are You Thinking?, as a witch monster named Witchblade, with her voice and cackle being reminiscent of the 1939 movie, voiced by Wendy Lee. Additionally, most of her lines are paraphrasings of the original witch's lines, such as, "How about a little fire, Rangers?" She also refers to the Ranger Zords as Tin Men, and to the Rangers as My Pretties. The Wicked Witch appears next in the sci-fi TV show, Futurama, at the end of the episode Anthology of Interest 2, after Leela falls unconscious and starts to dream about being Dorothy in a version of the Wizard of Oz, looking like an old woman, with gray hair and wearing black clothes, voiced by Tress MacNeille. She sends her flying monkeys, played by her sons, to capture Leela. At her castle, she reveals that she wants to adopt Dorothy as her daughter as long as she gets to be a witch, too, after which she is accidentally killed when Bender opens a celebratory bottle of champagne and sprays her with it. In the 2003 musical adaptation of Wicked, which is primarily focused on the two witches, Elphaba and Glinda, before and after Dorothy's arrival in Oz, the Wicked Witch of the West appears as Elphaba Thropp, portrayed by Idina Menzel. Here, she is depicted as a young woman, wearing black clothes and a hat, with black hair and green skin. The musical explores the complex friendship between Elphaba, who would later become the Wicked Witch of the West, and Glinda, and how their relationship is tested by their contrasting personalities, conflicting viewpoints, shared love interest, reactions to the corrupt rule of the Wizard of Oz, and ultimately Elphaba's tragic fall after getting framed by those she trusted. In the 2005 musical movie The Muppets Wizard of Oz, the Wicked Witch of the West appears, played by Miss Piggy. Here, she appears very similar to the original in terms of clothes, but in a biker theme, and also with an eye patch, covering her magical glass eye that gives her visual powers. Additionally, this Wicked Witch is only vulnerable to tap water, where she is able to bathe in bottled water, which is shown when she dies after Dorothy kicks her into the bathtub filled with bottled tap water. Next, the Wicked Witch appears in the Christian animated TV show, VeggieTales, in the episode The Wonderful Wizard of Haze, being portrayed by Bobby the Bully, who is a potato. The Wicked Witch of the West reappears in the TV miniseries Tin Man, as the character Ascadelia, played by Kathleen Robertson as an adult and Alexia Fast as a child. In the show, she is portrayed as a member of the royal family of the Outer Zone, being a daughter of the Queen of the Oz, whom she had usurped, and an older sister to DG, who's another main character, and a tyrannical ruler of the Oz, who is possessed as a young girl by the spirit of the evil Witch of the Dark, who uses her body to take over the Oz and plunge it into a world of permanent darkness, from which she is eventually saved by her sister, DG, when she frees her from the witch's spirit's grip, and they both defeat her. The Wicked Witch reappears in the 2012 movie Dorothy and the Witches of Oz as the primary antagonist who plans to overtake the Earth, alongside the Gnome King and an army of winged monkeys, in her original version, and disguised as a human woman, Billy Westbrook, her role reprised by Eliza Swenson. In the 2011 movie adaptation, Tom and Jerry the Wizard of Oz, the Wicked Witch of the West appears with her traditional look, voiced by Lorraine Newman. Here she mainly replays her original role with only minor differences, such as her interaction with Tom and Jerry, who help Dorothy and try to stop her from getting close to the ruby slippers, and also, at the end, are the ones who help Dorothy melt the witch with a bucket of water. The Wicked Witch appears next in the 2013 movie, Oz the Great and Powerful, which was intended to be an unofficial prequel to the 1939 movie, as the main antagonist, portrayed by Mila Kunis. In the movie, her story and character are significantly changed from the original. Here, at first, she is shown to be a young, beautiful good witch, who starts out as having the land of Oz's best interests at heart, and believing that Oscar is the wizard prophesied to defeat the seemingly evil Glinda, developing an attraction to him in the process. However, because of the jealousy and evil tendencies of her older sister, Evanora, she gradually tricks Theodora into thinking Oscar has betrayed her for Glinda, and then also gives her a cursed green apple, which finally prompts her transformation into the iconic Wicked Witch of the West, who wants to take revenge against Oscar and take over the land of Oz. In the TV show Supernatural, the Wicked Witch is featured in the episode Slumber Party, in which she is presented as an old woman with gray hair, a black mouth, glowing eyes, and white skin, wearing a black cloak, portrayed by Maya Massar. In the episode, at first, she was imprisoned with Dorothy in a bottle, but after the bottle was crashed, she got released and began possessing people while trying to open a portal to Oz and call forth her flying monkeys army. She almost succeeds, but Charlie, one of the protagonists in the show, manages to take one of Dorothy's ruby heels and stab her in the head in the middle of her ritual, killing her in the process and sealing the portal before any flying monkeys get through. In the TV show Once Upon a Time, the Wicked Witch appears as a recurring character named Zelena, portrayed by Rebecca Mader. Here, she is depicted as a young woman with red hair, who can change her skin color from white to green, which is caused by her envy. The story reveals that she was born a powerful witch, having been able to use magic since infancy, as demonstrated by her telekinesis, and abandoned by her mother as a child, which was the reason for her longing for family love. But then, she grew envious of her half-sister Regina for getting everything she ever wanted and decided to take revenge against her, which prompted her to get trained by Rumpelstiltskin in hopes of changing the past and taking Regina out of existence. Besides telekinesis, she can also magically teleport herself or others from one location to another, and alter the appearance of herself or others, as shown when she fakes her death and appears in the form of a melted corpse when Dorothy throws a bucket of water at her. She is also shown as a lich, as she has bound her life force to the magic pendant given to her by Glinda. However, despite her mighty power, at the end, she gets defeated when Regina confronts her and uses light magic against her before removing her pendant and her magic along with it, after which, she chooses to mend her sisterly bond with Regina. The TV show Emerald City depicts the Wicked Witch as a woman named West, reprised by Anna Ularu. Here, she is a young woman and is neither green nor evil, as she is rather neutral in the series and happens to work at a brothel in the Emerald City. She possesses very powerful magic, which she demonstrated after her sister, East, died, by extracting her spells for Glinda to take and performing a ritualistic dance while being able to completely assume control over more than a dozen other women participating in the ritual and forcing them to dance in unison, and is the former Witch of the West, as well as one of the cardinal witches, the four most powerful witches in Oz. She's also revealed to have an opium addiction and a hatred of magic due to its destructive power in the wrong hands, despite which she still continues to use it in the most dire circumstances. The Wicked Witch reappears in the 2015 TV musical special, The Wiz Live Action, again as Evillene, portrayed by Mary J. Blige. In the special, unlike her previous incarnations, instead of looking like a monster, she is depicted as being a beautiful, glamorous, and fashionable woman, albeit with the same cruel tendencies. She mainly replays her original role in the Wiz musical retelling of the story, with minor differences, such as when she learns that Dorothy and her friends have embarked on a mission to try and kill her, she commands her winged warriors to bring them to the factory, where she also makes them her slaves. As Dorothy refuses her demands to give her Evamine's silver slippers, Evillene threatens to kill her friends by cooking the cowardly lion in a stew, to construct the Tin Man into a pot, and to burn the scarecrow to stoke a fire, as well as to eat her too. After Dorothy intervenes with her plans to kill the lion, after which Dorothy fights back and dumps a bucket of water all over Evillene, combusting her into a cloud of smoke. Next, the Wicked Witch makes a cameo in the 2016 movie sequel to the 2011 Tom and Jerry movie, Tom and Jerry Back to Oz, at the beginning in the recalling of the events of the previous movie. The Wicked Witch appears in the animated TV show Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, as a main character, voiced by Lorraine Newman. In the show, after the Witch of the West was melted with water by Dorothy, her spirit was imprisoned in her crystal ball, and now she needed her niece Wilhelmina, and the flying monkeys to steal the ruby slippers that are needed to restore her, get rid of Dorothy and overtake the land of Oz. However, at the beginning of the second season, she does manage to escape, but because of an accident with the ruby slippers and the returned wizard, she in horror realizes that she lost her powers to the wizard and now has to continue her evil plans without her magic. The Wicked Witch appears next in the 2017 animated movie, The Lego Batman Movie, as a guest character in her Lego incarnation, voiced by Riki Lindhome. She first appears in the middle of the story as one of many iconic movie villains imprisoned in the Phantom Zone. When Harley Quinn steals the Phantom Zone projector from Arkham Asylum's evidence locker and frees Joker and the Phantom Zone inmates, the Wicked Witch unleashes the winged monkeys to cause mayhem in Gotham City and wage war against the superheroes. Next, the Wicked Witch cameos in the 2021 live-action/animated movie, Space Jam: A New Legacy in several crowd shots, together with other famous villains, during one of the basketball matches. The Wicked Witch of the West appears as Elphaba Thropp in the 2024 movie adaptation of the 2003 musical with the same name, portrayed by Cynthia Erivo. She, later known as the Wicked Witch of the West, like in the musical, is a green-skinned woman with powerful magical abilities, but with an addition of modern variation in clothing. As a result of this, she was scorned for most of her life by her family and peers. As an adult, Elphaba gained the opportunity of a lifetime when renowned sorceress Madame Morrible noticed her power one fateful day at Shiz University and offered to personally tutor her in magic to one day serve the Wizard of Oz and get freed from her green skin. Initially an outcast at Shiz, Elphaba soon forged close bonds with her fellow students, most notably her roommate, Glinda Upland, who would later become Glinda the Good and the Winkie Prince, Fiyero Tigalar. Also, Elphaba became aware of the struggles the animals were facing in Oz through Dr. Dillamond, which motivated her to advocate for them when she met with the wizard. However, Elphaba quickly learned that the wizard and Madame Morrible were the ones who deprived animals of their ability to teach, putting them in cages and taking away their ability to speak, and wanted to use her power for that end. Unwilling to be used as a pawn in their schemes and wanting to stop them, Elphaba flew into the sky on her broom and became a fugitive. Following, the Wicked Witch appears as a cosplay in the TV miniseries, Agatha All Along in the episode Death's Hand in Mine, when the witch Agatha Harkness dresses up as her and claims that she was originally based on herself.